So today's the day. The day that I continue my streak as the world's biggest scuba diver hater. I made sure to wash my hair last night so it doesn't look dingy and matted and as if I rolled around in the Everglades. Because in that Godspeed 2 review, it was brutal. Now, no one should be able to roast my hair, so I should just be able to give this a shot. It's not stressful. I can just do it. Come on, it's YouTube. It's fine. I'll be fine. Let's just do this. Hello, Drake Hawkins, Musically Optimistic here, and today I'm going to be reviewing this brand new Scubadiver album, Mecha-Robo Timeline. So this is Scubadiver's newest album since last year's Godspeed 2, an album which I notoriously gave a 2. Based on the numerous amount of dislikes and hate comments and stuff that I got, safe to say the review wasn't exactly popular with his fan base. However, after doing my 4-hour live stream where I listened to his entire discography, which you can go watch now, my opinions on the album has not changed. I expected it to change a little bit, but I still hate the album. And during that live stream, I also got to listen to his back catalog, including albums like Apple Cider Ranch and Stealing Traffic Cones, both of which I didn't really like either, especially Apple Cider Ranch, although I did see some things about Stealing Traffic Cones and some new things about Godspeed 2 that I saw as promising and things that I could look forward to potentially in a future Scubadiver record. But with those albums having so much more that I disliked than there was to like, in my opinion, I was still wary going into this album, especially since the reason I did that live stream was so I could hear the 2 new singles for this album, In the Blink of an Eye and Double Downward Spiral, and I wasn't really a big fan of either of those tracks. In fact, I kind of hated them, especially Double Downward Spiral, which thankfully isn't on the album. I don't know, I felt like the cheap, very distorted synth pop vibes he was going for on those tracks weren't exactly hitting right. I mean, it was just his first attempt at it, but to be leading singles to this upcoming project, it had me wondering, are these the best that the album has? Is because a lot of the times albums will put out like their best tracks. So having new context for his back catalog and the singles going into this project and everything else that I knew about Scubadiver going into this record, I had my expectations set kind of low. But thankfully, I am here to say that this album is actually pretty decent. Just like with the singles, this is pretty much a complete departure from hip-hop. Almost everything here is like synth-pop, electro-pop, and unlike In the Blink of an Eye and any other track from any other record, the main focus here are the beats. This is essentially a beat tape with the vocals serving as an instrument of their own. The album opens with an almost 6-minute track, Brave New World, and it really sets the atmosphere for this thing. The way that it builds and builds and builds and builds throughout the entire track and then closes off with a somewhat grand statement that transitions beautifully into track 2, Waco, really sets a nice precedent for this entire record to come. Waco is where you can see the general grooves and vibes of the album. This album isn't very loud, confrontational, in your face. It's just very kind of laid back, chill. And it's more of a vibey project than anything else he's done before. Because one of the big things I disliked about Godspeed 2 was I felt it was trying to be so pretentious. But this album really thrives in its subtlety. The Wumbo Tumbo starts off with one of the more fun grooves on the album. It also has one of the more catchy vocal melodies on here. And that's saying a lot considering a lot of the vocals on this project are buried. Now, it is an intentional thing since it's not really supposed to be heartfelt lyrics or thought-provoking or anything. And for what it's going for, it's pretty well done. Then we have a short little interlude, which we have a few of on this project. This one's a sort of dance break before going into the big hit of the album, In the Blink of an Eye, which on re-listen, I don't like anymore. I still don't like the pitched up vocals, and I feel like this track is sort of out of place considering the vocals are so present and forward, whereas the rest of the album, they're just kind of like an instrument as well. Although I guess the track does make a little more sense in the context here. Doesn't really, but I'm not really going to come back to it. And then immediately following that, Holographic, one of the best tracks on the album. Some more sticky earworm vocals, some grunge-esque guitars. There's just one little part of this track that I don't like. About 3 minutes in, we get this little spiel about how we've created these robots and AIs to basically take over our lives, and it's a little pretentious. I mean, I get that the rising prominence of AI is a problem for everyone, and seems like the extreme right-wingers don't seem to get that it's going to affect not only the jobs they don't think are important, but their jobs too. They don't realize everything will be automated, so it is an important thing to spread the word of and, push back against. But I feel like the short little monologue in here isn't really about that. It's just robots bad. Then we have another interlude, Premonition, which is a short little guitar ballad. Might I say, I don't know if these are samples or him actually playing, but the guitar work on this project is so much better than everything else he's done so far. Like, for one, they're actually interesting melodies and rhythms, and they're much better mixed. And then even the singing over them are so much more interesting. The melodies are so much more easy to pick out of a lineup. And then we have Everything, which is an interesting track. Not interesting because it's bad or so bombastic or anything. It's actually like the weirdest song on here, and I kind of love it. This is like an electronic country song. Like the twang of these guitars or something you'd hear in like a Yellow Wolf song, or hell, even like fucking Florida Georgia Line. But obviously the vocal processing and synthesizers around it keep it out of the realm of anything a southerner would listen to. And then as the track continues to the halfway point, we get these nice boom bap drums to help center the rhythm and help it bring it even more into this nice, beautiful thing. And then after rounding out the song with a really catchy melody, we get a jazz breakdown with pitched up vocals that don't sound like shit. What the hell is going on with this song? And that's something else I want to say about this album. The pitched up vocals on this project pretty much wipe everything else on any other Scubadiver record. They're not perfect because like In the Blink of an Eye exists, but for the most part, they actually sound decent. They actually sound okay. Like they're not grating. They're not mixed poorly. They sound authentic, which if you go watch that 4-hour live stream, that's like my main complaint of any Scubadiver song. The pitched up vocals usually suck ass and take me out of the vibe of anything that's going on, but they're actually okay on this project. The Past Life Machine is one of the more aggressive cuts on this album, reminding me of like an LCD Sound System song, and then Dance House feels like a pretty standard electropop song, which isn't a bad thing. Purgatory, the penultimate track here, is one that I feel like is a bit more 8-bit in its synth. Like it feels a bit too video gamey for the rest of the album. However, it is a nice little interlude into the final track on the album, containing the only feature, Again, featuring 20K Blaze. Now, Blaze takes up the vocals of this track while Scubadiver just handles the production, and honestly, I think it's a really solid song. Like, out of any of the tracks here that I would say is like genuinely one that I would listen to just independently, it would be this one. Because the production on here just feels like pretty nicely made synth, electro, whatever the hell, and then the vocalist does a really damn good job, just really knocks it out of the park. It's catchy as hell, mixed brilliantly, and honestly a fantastic closer to the project. So am I surprised that this album was not terrible? Yeah, I am. It definitely surpassed my expectations, and might actually be an album that I come back to throughout the year. In short, Scubadiver made a good album, and I'm feeling like an 8- to a solid 8 on this. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Bye. Hey guys, thank you for watching to the end of that video. What do you think of the album? If you heard it, what should I review next? I have another review coming soon. I have another Discog rank coming soon. So guess down in the comments who I'm ranking. And if you want to suggest artists for that, definitely go ahead and do that. This part of the video is definitely not to get us to 8 minutes so we can get promoted in the algorithm more. I would never want to do that. But yeah, just what are your opinions on the album? What do you like about the album? What do you hate about the album? What do you think I should review instead of this shit? Yeah, that's everything. Thank you. Subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like, and yeah, I'll be back next time with another video. Bye.